How is it going, everyone? We are coming up on an absolutely loaded, absolutely stacked lineup of game releases in October. Historically speaking, it always seems to be October and February that are absolutely nuts. Last year's October was absolutely nuts. Look at next year's February, absolutely nuts. And look at next month. October is absolutely nuts with an insane lineup of high-level video games, and on top of that, you've got a variety of big games, smaller games, and lower key titles that are going a little bit under the radar. We've got a major free game release as well. It's gonna be straight up insanity, and your wallets are gonna be absolutely ravaged. Definitely want to hear from you guys because I think this is going to be the month where a lot of people are going to be a little bit selective as far as what they pick up, because these days $70 for games, $100 for expensive Ultimate Editions with early access. You gotta be a little bit picking and choosing, for a lot of us at least. So let me know what you guys are the most interested in picking up, but there's a lot to go over, so let's just get right into it. And let's start off with a game that I've been waiting for a new entry into this franchise for well over a decade. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is finally going to be dropping on October the 11th. Now, early access will be available on October the 8th. I know if you grew up with Dragon Ball Tenkaichi back in the day, this is something that, yes, it's a little bit of nostalgia that's pushing you towards it, but at the same time, seeing this game in action, seeing the visuals, the fast-paced gameplay, man, even if you're not that nostalgic for the PlayStation 2 days, I feel like if you're even remotely a Dragon Ball fan, you have to be excited for Sparking Zero. It is going to be an exhilarating fighting game, 182 characters right off the rip, and then on top of that, the Season Pass is going to be adding another 20-plus characters, so you're looking at well over 200 characters for the roster. By the time it's all said and done, it's been a long time coming, but Dragon Ball Sparking Zero finally drops October 11th. Again, if you buy the deluxe edition, that includes the season pass as well, but you'll also get the early access, which will allow you to play the game on October the 8th. I'll see all of you guys online. I am stoked for this one, and it's really one of my most anticipated games of the entire year, and I've said it before, I think this is going to be one of the most successful commercial games of the year as well. Next up, we have Master Detective Archives Rain Code Plus. Originally available on the Nintendo Switch, now it's coming to a plethora of new platforms, including the PlayStation 5. Enjoy a brand new dark fantasy detective action game from the minds behind the Danganronpa series. If you look at this game and its character designs, absolutely see that shine through. The City of Rain is gripped by unsolved mysteries under the complete control of a mega corporation. Master detectives from around the world, each possessing unique powers, must rise to the challenge of uncovering the truth. With Shinigami by his side, Yuma joins the investigation as well. An expected narrative-driven title with a lot of twists and turns. Master Detective Archives Rain Code Plus is out October the 1st. Next up, a JRPG that I'm very excited for, the latest entry in a long-running and incredibly consistent franchise. We have Ys 10 Nordics. This game dropped in Japan about a year ago, and now it finally drops stateside on all major platforms, including PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Once again, you'll embark on an epic journey with the latest action RPG featuring the renowned adventurer Adol Christian, whose legacy spans over 100 adventure journals. This one's gonna be a pretty interesting Ys title because you've got the naval combat experience added into it. A little bit of Assassin's Creed 4 in my Ys is always gonna sound like a good time. You've got two heroes, one story. Bound by unexpected circumstances, the young adventurer Adol and the Norman pirate Karja must work together to determine the fate of the Obelia Gulf and its people. A cross-action system swap between controlling Adol and Karja independently or together combine their unique strengths to overcome enemies and build up the revenge gauge to unleash devastating attacks. The power of mana, a sailor's delight as well. The sailing ship known as the Sandras takes your exploration to new levels. Ocean travel, naval battles, and discovering uncharted islands are all made possible with this seaworthy vessel. Ys 10 Nordics is out October 25th. Certainly going to be a JRPG for all of us to check out. Next up, a major remake. Bloober Team and Konami are bringing you the long-awaited remake of Silent Hill 2. Now, initially when we saw some of that Silent Hill 2 remake, I'm not gonna lie, the footage looked a little bit concerning, but recently, the gameplay has looked fantastic, and if you're into your immersive psychological horror game, Silent Hill 2 is gonna be right up your alley. Investigating a letter from his late wife, James returns to where they made so many memories, Silent Hill. What he finds is a ghost town prowled by disturbing monsters and cloaked in deep fog, confront the monsters, solve puzzles, and search for the traces of your wife in this remake of Silent Hill 2. Incredibly excited for this remake. Now, it should be noted, and this came to my attention recently, this game is also doing the early access, advanced access gimmick with the digital deluxe edition, which will be $80. If you do pre-order that version, you'll be able to play the game 2 days ahead of release. It's actually out on October the 8th, but again, pre-purchase will allow you access on October the 6th, so take that for what you will. Next up, we've got the latest entry in a juggernaut of a franchise. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is gonna be dropping on October 25th. The first Call of Duty that will also be hitting Xbox Game Pass if you're going to be playing it on PC or Xbox Series X, but it'll also be on PlayStation 5. Developed by Treyarch and Raven, Black Ops 6 is a spy action thriller set in the early 90s, a period of transition and upheaval in global politics characterized by the end of the Cold War and the rise of the United States as a single superpower. With a mind-bending narrative and unbound by the rules of engagement, this is a signature Black Ops release. You've got a campaign, and obviously most of you guys are probably going to go into it for the multiplayer component. Call of Duty at this point, I feel like, has established itself as one of the big IPs in gaming. However, if you're not into it, I don't know if Black Ops 6 is going to be the game to draw you back in, but Black Ops, I know, is the line of Call of Duty that a lot of us do have a nostalgic attachment to. I remember playing Black Ops 2 when I was younger. That game was one of my most played Call of Duty titles. Black Ops 1 as well. Kind of fell off of it after that, but have still been playing every outing, just not as much as I did growing up, and I think a lot of us are in the same boat, but still gonna be one interesting to check out, as it is gonna be dropping on October 25th. Next up, we have Until Dawn, another remake. However, this is one that I don't know if the game really needs a remake. It's going to be released on PlayStation 5 and PC. It dropped a decade ago, to be fair, back in 2014 on PlayStation 4. It's not like Until Dawn was this very, very incredibly well-received game. Don't get me wrong, I like the game for what it was. A cheesy horror movie, a lot of decision-making. You kind of know what to expect out of supermassive games, and this enhanced release does look fairly good. The $59.99 price tag is a little bit of a pushback to me. I would say add this one to your wish list. If you never played it, pick it up on sale and go about it that way. But if you're into your engaging horror titles and narrative-driven games, Until Dawn's a worthwhile playthrough. It's just that price point is pushing me away. However, I'll let you guys decide on whether or not to pick it up. Until Dawn, this enhanced release, will be dropping on October the 4th. Next up, another absolutely massive Japanese RPG release. You JRPG fans, I should include myself in there, we're eating good. Metaphor ReFantazio will be dropping on October 11th. Yes, the same day as Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's official release. What a time it's gonna be. But Metaphor is a brand new fantasy RPG coming from the developers of Persona 3, 4, and 5. Like the setting shift as far as versus Persona's, high school setting, with Metaphor ReFantazio, you have a unique fantasy world where your protagonist will journey alongside his fairy companion to lift the curse from the kingdom's lost prince, control your destiny, face your fears, and awaken magical archetype powers that lie dormant in your heart. There's already a prologue demo available. That demo has 3 to 4 hours of gameplay and will give you a very good idea of what to expect out of the game. An awesome soundtrack, looks to be a compelling narrative with likable characters. This is one that JRPG fans are going to be all over. I myself am incredibly excited for it. I'm expecting the best out of Metaphor ReFantazio when it officially does release on October 11th. Again, if you're not excited for the game, you're definitely not a JRPG fan. Any JRPG player is going to be excited for this, but try out the demo. I think that'll give you a good taste of the game, and I like a little bit of the mix of the turn-based combat with also some action elements. Looks to be a game that's going to be right up a lot of our alleys, and again, it'll be dropping on October 11th. Next up, another enhanced release that we can question the need for it, but Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered will be dropping on October 31st. Now, it will be a $9.99 upgrade for existing owners of Horizon Zero Dawn. The actual release itself will be released physically at $49.99 and digitally. They jacked up the base price of Horizon Zero Dawn. They doubled it to $39.99. And they'll be releasing this remastered version for $50. Now, if I actually look at this remastered release side by side with the original, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered is a significant improvement upon Zero Dawn, and I always knew it was going to be if they were getting Zero Dawn up to the level of Horizon Forbidden West. Yes, Zero Dawn is a good-looking game. If you played both titles, Forbidden West is a considerably better looking game than Zero Dawn. The character models are a lot better, the environments are a lot better. Is it better enough to justify a remastered release? I mean, that is up for certain debate. And the real issue with this remastered, if you watched our previous videos, when I've talked about it, is it's from an optics standpoint. The optics are Sony releases no new first-party games, and they're just going back to the well and re-releasing the same game. They just re-released Last of Us Part 2 earlier this year. They dropped Last of Us Part 1 in 2022. The optics are Sony doesn't release new games, they just re-release older ones. I would guarantee you if this was a year that had 2 or 3 major, well-received, big-budget first-party titles, the narrative wouldn't exist and people would be like, alright, this is kind of dumb, but it wouldn't have been as big of a deal that it is. It's the issue of the optics of Sony not putting out any new games. Otherwise, I think people would have just been like, whatever, I'm not gonna buy it. But because Sony's output has been so lackluster, it's become such a story. And I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I've been incredibly critical about the remastered release of this game, but I love Zero Dawn. I think it's a phenomenal game, and it's one of my favorite PlayStation first-party games ever. It did just come out 7.5 years ago, which is kind of wild to think about that it dropped 7.5 years ago. And I will say the remastered release looks a lot better. You know, a $9.99 upgrade is fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I do think it's an issue of Sony just not putting out a lot of big games. That Horizon Zero Dawn remastered is facing the brunt of that attack. It is what it is. $9.99 I think is a justifiable purchase, and for somebody like me that loves Zero Dawn, it's something that I'll eventually check out, but with all these big games coming out, another playthrough of Zero Dawn isn't what I'm really itching for at this moment. Next up, another enhanced release, a lot of these coming out, but this one I'm excited for. Shadows of the Damned, Hella Remastered, dropping Halloween Day, October 31st. Shadows of the Damned is a game that came out in an era of forgotten PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games, and thankfully, a lot of them are getting re-released. Lollipop Chainsaw, unfortunately, had a not-so-great re-release. El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron is another game I put in that category. That recently saw a re-release. Enslaved Odyssey to the West is a game I put in that category. Unfortunately, that hasn't been re-released. And Shadows of the Damned, a game that I absolutely put in that category, done by Suda51. Now we have the Hella Remastered release. It will be coming to all major platforms on October 31st, and if you're into your zany action title, Shadows of the Damned, while not perfect, is absolutely worth a playthrough, and it's coming out at a time that's not ideal with so many other big games, but it's a relatively short game. You can go in, have a good time with it, move on to the next title. Sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered, and with Shadows of the Damned, it will be dropping October 31st. Next up, you guessed it, another enhanced release. We have Sonic X Shadows Generations, another re-release, however, that I do think is warranted. Sonic Generations was a great game and came out in an era where Sonic was incredibly inconsistent. You would get games like Sonic Generations, but then you would get games that I personally think were lackluster, like a Sonic Unleashed and Sonic and the Black Knight. Like, I'm sorry, like, the sword is cool, but that game to me wasn't that great. Sonic Generations, on the other hand, a marriage of old Sonic and newer Sonic, it was fantastic. You're getting a re-release of that, and on top of that, you're getting a Shadow campaign added into the game as well, and it looks to be a sizable addition to the game. You're getting both experiences, and really you could say 3 experiences when you're talking about old Sonic, newer Sonic, and the Shadow experience, and all of that in one collection on October the 25th. Sonic is on a bit of a hot streak right now. I really like Sonic Frontiers. Sonic movies have been doing really well. Sonic Superstars was fine, it wasn't great, but this I do think is going to be great, and we'll find out on October 25th. Next up, another game long anticipated, dropping on Halloween Day, Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, let's be honest, this game has been shrouded in its controversy as well, but when I look at this game, I feel like from a gameplay standpoint, it looks fantastic. BioWare has destroyed a lot of their goodwill. After Mass Effect Andromeda, after Anthem, BioWare is not the BioWare of the late 2000s and early 2010s. However, with Dragon Age Veilguard, I really believe this is their last opportunity to show us that they are still, or at least have a semblance of BioWare of old. Am I expecting Veilguard to be at the quality level of a Mass Effect 2? Probably not. However, am I hopeful that it's going to be a high-quality game? Absolutely. Gaming is better when BioWare is performing at a top level. I know you guys, and a lot of you guys lived through the late 2000s and early 2010s when you were getting Mass Effect one year and Dragon Age the next year. We're never gonna get back to that level of consistency, and I don't think BioWare is ever going to be at that level again. But can BioWare be at a high level and still be putting out games that are compelling? Absolutely, and I hope that starts with Dragon Age the Veilguard. I want to be cautiously optimistic. I can't be. Just with BioWare's recent output, I can't be optimistic. Am I hopeful? Absolutely. Am I optimistic? I can't be. I'm skeptical, but I'm hoping for the best. Dragon Age the Veilguard is out October 31st. Next up, we have Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. Diablo 4 is a game that has made a bit of a resurgence, and it seems like a lot of consistent players of Diablo 4 are really enjoying the experience. And with Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, it is going to be extending the experience where you can uncover the next chapter of Diablo 4, continue your fight to thwart the diabolical plot of the prime evil Mephisto, battle as an all-new Spiritborn class empowered by mystical spirits as well. As Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred is out October 8th. Next up, we have Clock Tower Rewind. Turn back the clock for one of the pioneers of the survival horror genre. Translated and released outside of Japan for the first time, Clock Tower Rewind is a revival of the terror-inducing 16-bit classics that dare you to explore the haunting confines of the Barrows family manor. As a teenage orphan, Jennifer, you must search every disturbing corner to find items, reveal secrets, and discover what was. Clock Tower Rewind drops on Halloween Day, October 31st. Next up, we have the PlayStation release of Wildermyth, a game that was really well received, a character-driven, procedurally generated tactical RPG. Like the best tabletop role-playing experience, Wildermyth gives you the choices and answers your every decision with consequences that drives your character forward. The game is dropping October 22nd. Next up, major free MMORPG release. We have Throne and Liberty. Long anticipated, welcome to Throne and Liberty, a free-to-play multi-platform MMORPG with an always challenging environment, massive scale PvPvE, and the ability to transform into creatures to battle across land, sea, and air. The game has been in its paid early access period if you bought the Founders Pack, but it will be officially free for everyone and be released on PlayStation 5 on October 1st. Next up, we have SpongeBob SquarePants, the Patrick Star video game. Explore Bikini Bottom as a sandbox playground using various objects to create physics-defying fun. The game features missions from beloved characters like SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, and Plankton, and includes iconic locations such as Glove World, The Dump, and Demolition Derby. A game starring Patrick. I think it's going to be something a lot of people are all over. SpongeBob SquarePants, the Patrick Star game, drops October 4th. Next up, we have Die by the Blade. Die by the Blade is a 1v1 weapons-focused fighter where the difference between victory and death can amount to a single strike by the blade. Carve your path through the samurai punk world with nothing but your trusty weapon by your side in the story-driven single-player campaign, or crush your friends in local or online multiplayer. Die by the Blade is out October 5th. Next up, we have Parcel Corps. Descend onto the sun-drenched streets of New Island, where three bicycle courier corporations are in fierce competition to claim the title of the most substantial and profitable enterprise in town. Choose your allegiance, then engage in handlebar-to-handlebar skirmishes. Gotta say, one of the most unique visual styles you're gonna come across, at least in October. Parcel Corps is dropping on October 3rd. Next up, we have Kill Knight. Once a faithful knight, now betrayed and cast into the abyss, you become a desecrated corpse within reanimated armor, awakening to the unending demise. Known as Kill Knight, your sole mission is to slay the last angel. Looks to be an over-the-top action game. Kill Knight is out October 3rd. Next up, Starship Troopers Extermination is coming out of early access into its full release on PlayStation 5 October 11th. Starship Troopers Extermination drops up to 12 players right into the fight against the bug menace in this co-op for FPS. Suit up and ship out to a far front as trooper in the Deep Space Vanguard, an elite special forces group within the mobile infantry. Starship Troopers Extermination drops October 11th. Next up, we have Unknown 9 Awakening. Unknown 9 Awakening is a third-person narrative-driven action-adventure game created by Reflector Entertainment. The game tells the story of Haruna, a young woman raised on the streets of India and haunted by visions of her own death. Unknown 9 Awakening drops October 18th. Next up, another major MMO release, New World Aeternum, will be dropping on PlayStation 5. This is New World's first foray onto the console market. had a mixed reception on PC, but was certainly fairly popular, and it looks like they're trying to revamp the game with New World Aeternum. New World hits PlayStation 5 on October 15th. Next up, another JRPG, Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven is a full remake of the groundbreaking non-linear RPG Romancing Saga 2, which dropped all the way back in '93. Embark on an adventure featuring both new and classic Saga franchise features, complete with Japanese and English voiceovers. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven drops October 24th. Next up, we have Awaken Astral Blade. Bionic Girl Tanya is assigned by her creator, Dr. Hervius, to search and rescue a missing investigation force in the rainforest of Forest Island, where mysterious Corpus energy turns local animals and plants into aggressive mutations. After defeating the large mutant creature that attacked the investigation force, Tanya discovers the centuries-old remains of the Eternal Civilization. Awaken Astral Blade drops October 22nd. And lastly, we have Life is Strange Double Exposure, the latest in a pretty notable IP of Life is Strange. Max Caulfield, a photographer in residence at the prestigious Chaldean University, discovers her closest new friend, Safi, dead in the snow. Murdered to save her, Max tries to rewind time, a power she's not used in years. A narrative-driven adventure, Life is Strange Double Exposure, is out October 15th. And that is gonna do it for me. This isn't even all of the PlayStation games out in October. There are more titles, and it's going to be chaos. It's going to be anarchy as far as your wallet is concerned, but a fairly good problem to have, all things considered. That's going to do it for me. Let me know what games you are the most excited for in October. One of the most hectic months in gaming recent memory, I would say. Maybe last year in October was a little bit bigger with Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, but man, this is pretty damn close. That's going to do it for me. All of your thoughts down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.